Memory and pixel displays are always on. It's basically like a Game Boy Color. The way that an MIP works is that it's always on. You know, when it has power, at least it's always on. And when it gets information, it only needs to be refreshed when that information changes. So if you send it one thing, you know, say like the time, and you don't have a second display, it doesn't need another image refresh for another minute. So it conserves a lot of power that way. That's why a lot of like downloadable watch faces will kind of kill your battery if there's a lot of pixels moving on the MIP that were kind of designed. That's why I don't use those third-party watch faces, because they're just not efficient. But I mean, that being said, if you have, you know, an animated watch face, it's refreshing more to display the animation. The less movement you have on your MIP, the more efficient that display is going to be over time. AMOLEDs, I think what the person was referring to was the backlight. So like if you do a gesture wake, right? If you're always gesture waking and the light's coming on when you're, you know, flipping up your MIP, it's just shining a light through the back of the actual like display. Whereas the AMOLEDs, if you're having that always on, those pixels in the AMOLED display are generating their own light versus having to shine a light through the back of it. So when you're using an AOD on an AMOLED, that display is generating light at all times and refreshing itself. Yeah, it gets pretty dim, you know, to conserve battery, and the gesture wake will brighten it up. But that display is always refreshing itself at a fixed amount of hertz. I think that's why the MIPs sometimes look clunky to people, because it's just a much slower refresh rate. And I would like to see a stronger processor in the future from Garmin, in specifically the MIPs, to give it, because I mean it's smooth sometimes, you know, like during the boot animation, super smooth. But then once you get in there and you start clicking around, you know, if you're using the touchscreen, touchscreen, it looks a little bit smoother than if you're using the buttons, but it can get kind of like janky looking, which I mean I'm fine with, because I just want the information. I don't really want a beautiful experience, but it would be nice if there was a stronger, more efficient processor in the future, because I think we're still on the same processors that we used in the Phoenix 7. Don't quote me on that, because I could be making it up, but it's definitely the same processor as the 7X. So that would be nice to see something new in the next generation. But I hope that clears it up, the difference between AMOLED and MIP. I mean, it's Game Boy Color, which is excellent, an excellent display, considering what it was.